head's going to turn. We nailed it. The premise of that was your head is going to turn on. And the one word she said that stuck with me, and it's still with me today, is you have to be grateful. You have to find gratitude. And at the time, I was like, what is that? What? Right? Because this is like head down, get angry, get it done. But the thing is that what I've learned over time in life is the harder you try to do something, if you go play, if anyone plays golf, the harder you swing, the worse you hit it. You grip a golf club as tight as you can, you're going to hit that thing into the next fairway. And in boxing, the people who are in there super tight, they're not loose. If you look at Floyd Mayweather, he's super loose when he's boxing, and that's why he's undefeated, right? And so finding gratitude, yes, it does win every time. So Trisha, thank you. What's weird about that voice message is I saved it and I listened to it a handful of times. And if my wife would know that I was listening to some random recording from a lady, she'd be like, "What are you doing?" But I had to keep my mind right. So thanks, Trisha. But yeah, now I'm in this stage, and some of you guys might relate to this, that like you look at some of the people on this call, there's some giants on here, or if you get into whatever Mac room you're in, like there's some giants on there, and I would probably label them as having mastery over this business. And I think a lot of the times somebody will get some sort of title, and from a distance outside looking in, it looks like they've got their what together. But the reality is for me personally, like I still feel like I'm in an extreme novice stage, right? Like we've gotten to a platform, we've gotten to a playing field. Like we've stepped onto the field to be able to actually do something. And excuse me, if you look at the way that symmetry has been laid out in front of us, um, all of the tools and resources are handed to you. It just everybody's journey is a little bit different, and it takes a certain length of time to be able to see it, right? It takes a certain length of time to be able to understand, like, it is all there. If you just pay attention, Scott and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like the people who make it, it seems to be they just pay attention and show up. Like if you find yourself in the middle of groups like this, unless you're just wildly defiant and you want to work with inside the resistance, like you're gonna keep moving forward. And when that time comes, then you're gonna start to learn and move from what I'm trying to get to, which is the novice stage, into the expert and then into mastery, right? Like that's the trajectory that's been on my mind the last like week or two, is that how are we gonna climb these stages, right? So that I can speak on this with a little bit more certainty. And by the way, if you think I'm going to get on here and be like, I'm going to give you 5 simple steps to be able to go to XYZ, I don't have that type of brain. Michael Matthews is an absolute expert at that. And I'm like, the dude rocks. Andrew did that yesterday. That was dope. My brain is a little scattered and I get super fired up. So like, I'm not going to give you steps for anything yet. Maybe I'll get to that mastery. I don't know. But so for me, right, I know that my life prior to Symmetry, for a little bit of like street credit, I spent 10 years working inside of the behavioral health field, specifically inside of drug and alcohol treatment. And the reason for that is I got so, and this is not like this is just me telling you how we got here. Like I got sober at 21 years old. It took me 4 years to get sober. I went to 4 different treatment centers, and I'm not like that. We're not talking the type of like guy who's struggling with substance that had like a little issue and his mom caught some stuff in like his sock drawer. Like I went as far as you could in the addiction world, to a point where I should have been dead or locked up a long time ago. You have 3 options when you're in active addiction: jails, institutions, and death. I've been in jail and I've been in institutions. I just didn't die, which is great. And what that allowed me to do is to be able to kind of rebirth and rebrand myself as a person. And the only way that that happens inside of that world is by asking for help. The most simple thing in the world, by picking up that 100-pound phone, right? How hard is it when you are struggling to say, I need to reach out to somebody? And I would argue to say majority of people don't. Majority of people don't. What they like to do is they like to sit in it, let their head spin, and then they come up with a decision that is based off of pure emotions, which causes massive issues. And so they continue to bounce around and make these decisions one after another. And so In the recovery world, if you want to get better, you have to ask for help, and then you go through a process of basically following someone. To keep it simple, they call it sponsorship, right? It's almost like getting a trainer at the gym. So, and it's because it's somebody who has been through what you have been through, someone who's been through what you've been through, and they have their guiding light is allowing you to do is to walk over potholes that they might have fallen in. And if you look at symmetry, what's that A word that we talk a lot about? Put it in the chat, right? What is that A word? Association, right? Reaching out. And so I can tell you, when we got into this group specifically, I mean, we got a badass team, ours specifically, but like you still have to get outside of your agency, 1000%. And so when we got into here and I started hearing the way that people were speaking and moving and acting and aligning with others, I was like, wait a second, like I'm kind of missing, I'm missing something a little bit here. So I got uncomfortable and I started doing what I have trained hundreds of people to do inside of the recovery world, which is just ask for damn help, right? So I had a few phone calls, one with Jim, one with Devin Johnson, a couple with Michael Matthews, and all of the sudden things started to move. And like, here's what's cool about that is a lot of these people don't even know that the effect that that had on me, right? And so when somebody reaches out to you, it's not like, oh my God, this like new person or this like trying to figure out like this is so annoying. Like you don't know the impact you're gonna have on somebody if you are the one who is honored to get the call, right? Like Trisha didn't know the impact she was gonna have. And like, by the way, Trisha's been here a third of the time I've been in symmetry, which I could see, I could deem that as frustrating, but that's just stupid, right? Like that's somebody who had different life experience that allowed her to catapult 10 times faster than I did. And so like why would I not take that sort of perspective? And so luckily I was gifted as a young kid. My brothers, I'm one of four boys, and I was gifted the mindset, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough, right? And that to me is it speaks to like the resilience and persistency that you have to have with inside of here, because I can tell you that I like this has not been like an easy blessed road for me. I can tell you that. And a lot of that is self-induced. A lot of it is I can blame outside circumstances, but like I know for a fact blaming outside circumstances has never gotten me anywhere. That's called being a victim. And there is nothing noble about sitting in the victim chair. Nothing. And so when I came into symmetry, we kind of took off. And then 2023, we did pretty good. And I saw a little bit of light. And 2024, my numbers were like a fraction of what I did in 2023. And at the end of 24, I got on a call with Jim, and I was like, I realized I sounded like just a whiny baby. And I was like, this has to end. And so I made the decision, and I started diving even further into some personal development stuff, and specifically all of the Dr. Benjamin Hardy books, right? All of those. I've heard him on podcasts. I've read a ton of books. I've done a lot of that, but none of it I never actually applied any of it. I read one and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna hyper focus on this dude so I can kind of stay all within the same lingo. And all of a sudden, right, these things that we talk about, personal development, association, just started to click. And it was like, okay, this is starting to move all of a sudden. And when that started to happen, like Jim said, the results start to show up. And so if I could like urge anybody who might be a little bit newer or in that zone of like this is not working or whatever, I can tell you it works. And I can also tell you all of the resources specifically under the symmetry umbrella work. I'm a fan of shiny object syndrome. I will see a squirrel and I will run to it so fast. I've tried every lead, east and west, south of the Mississippi, whatever you want to say. Like I've tried them all. They all suck. Keep within side of the symmetry leads. They work. Every time I go back, I close business. It's that simple. Don't try to get fancy, right? Stay with what we have as a resource. And then the association aspect, like I cannot harp on that enough. If you don't have alignment with anybody outside of your agency, like then ask your upline. Ask your upline. If you knew how annoying Scott and Kate were for so long, they're like, dude, you got to connect. You got to connect. And I'm like, don't you got to connect. Right. But like they were right the whole entire time. And I was talking to my wife the other day, and she was like, you have this weird ability for somebody to give you like the golden sidewalk to be able to walk down, and you like to go from step 1 to 7, and then you forget all about 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm like, Yes, that is very true. And so I like to take things a little bit harder, and sometimes it takes me longer. But the good news is I know that there is enough proof within this organization and this system that it works. And so if and I'm also a pretty big Alex Hormozy fan, and he remember a post of his one day, he was like, there are two things that happen in business. You either quit or you wait long enough for it to work. Now, I can tell you this. It might look like it worked because I got to sign a cool piece of paper yesterday. Actually, it was digital. There was no paper, but I got to click a button and it applied my signature manually, right? That was fun. But now it's like this is the time where it gets extremely real. And I'm like super pumped to be able to do that with you guys. I'm super pumped to be on here. If there are like slight adjustments that you need to make, the biggest analogy I can give there, I did a powerlifting meet back in 2021. And I've always deemed myself like pretty strong. I've been in the gym forever. It's just I'm like a gym rat. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. I haven't competed in anything in a long time. And I on my squat specifically, I always had kind of the same form. And when I was training, everything else was going up. My deadlift was going up, my bench was going up, but my squat was super stagnant. So I got somebody to watch what I was doing, and he was like, dude, you need to just widen your stance just a little bit. You just need to widen your stance a little bit. And as soon as I widened my stance, my numbers went up like a lot without having to get into detail. Like they shot up by a slight adjustment. So I tell you that here because sometimes it takes a slight adjustment. And the only way that you're going to be able to figure that out is if somebody has eyes on what you're doing. So this accountability group is a great start, but it's got to be more than this. So anyway, I'm fired up. No one's in my house, so I got to speak at my normal volume, which is really fun. My wife, she works in the next room in our home, and she gets muted all the time on calls because I get going and I get really loud, and her boss is like, hey, your husband's doing that thing again, and they'll literally mute her on calls. So no one's in my house. This is a great day to have me on. I'm pumped. Scott, I love you guys. And yeah. Oh, last thing, if you haven't signed up for conference or bought some of those packets yet, then you're missing out, and you should probably do that. So anyways, that's all I got. Love you guys.
Man, so good. I'm so pumped for you. By the way, Wilbur is a dad of four boys, and he works at home, obviously, as he just said, they're out of the house this morning. But uh, for those of you who have one or two kids, like I find myself complaining sometimes, and then I remember Wilbur's got four pterodactyls running around his house all day. How old is Wilbur? How old's your oldest?
My oldest is 7. They're all boys. My oldest is 7. I have twins that are 5, and then my youngest is 3. I'll just tell you what my day looks like today. Got up, I made them all breakfast, got their lunches, got them to school. My son has an event at his school at 10:30. I got to go get him. And then we've got All-Star tournament all weekend. So like, yeah, it's a lot, but this is what's cool here, I can tell you is the it's not even flexibility, honestly. It's not flexibility because you don't have flexibility if the numbers aren't there. Like that's a false narrative right there. If you think that you have flexibility because you're working for yourself, like check yourself. But what it does give you the ability to do is structure. It allows you to structure and make choices to be able to work when you, I don't want to say when you can, but when it's necessary, and you can alter things a little bit. So that's like, yeah. And if you have less than 3 kids, and I hear you complaining, I'm that's it.
Everyone has
I'll
their
stop
own
there.
journey.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Everyone
I'm
has
totally
their own
kidding.
journey,
They're
Wilbur.
all hard.
All right, this is so excellent. Yeah, yeah, try flexibility and not working for 2 weeks. That doesn't help your business for sure, but it is nice to be able to say, "Hey, Wilbur gets to pick his kids up from school every day." I think that is wealth. I think that is super wealthy. And I tell him that all the time when he gets frustrated with his schedule. So, yeah, let's hit breakout rooms. Can someone do that for me? I still don't know how to do it. Anybody know how to do it? Christian, save me.